Hi guys, welcome back to Unladylike Opinions. And this is it's not kind of how I first started with like telling about myself, life and all that. Uh um how this year has been for me. I've kind of like been neglecting this page or just kind of shifted it to different stuff because some that know me in real life already know that um my brother passed January 23rd of 2022, and a lot has happened before and after his passing, like basically being a caregiver to my brother the last 2 weeks before he passed or whatever. That was kind of like hard because I never saw myself being able to do that, even like with his passing. Kind of like it's been a year and I don't really think I grieved it properly. I can't really like get a full cry out, and I maybe because I'm trying to be strong for a lot of people, but in a lot I had to like man up, and I'm a woman, to handle other things because being a single mom, you can't break because my kids took it very hard or whatever. Not saying that they took it harder than his kids, but he played a very pivotal part in all of the kids in our family life. But I really don't want to spend too much time on it because it's still hard. I miss him, think about him all the time, like everything. It kind of like he send me signs because like I see his name everywhere. Even on the back of an 18-wheeler. That was crazy. And trying to push forward and navigate all the other things that didn't happen within a year because a lot has happened. And just want to see how to get navigate through this grieving process. Like, it's been a year. It doesn't seem like a year, but they say it get better with time, but I don't think it ever get better. I mean, it probably get easier, but better, no, because he played a very pivotal role in all our lives, because he was the troublemaker, but yet the softest, if that makes sense. Like, he was the softest gangster I never seen, put it like that. Like, he would piss you off, but he's the first to apologize. He's sensitive. He's the one that always, he remembers everybody's birthday. He would call everybody just to say hey, or even if he got a little change in his pocket, he like, he'll slide this to you or whatever, even though he gonna ask for it back later on. But yeah, he was like, growing up, he was the one that kept us in trouble, but it kept us going because like our childhood, it like we was very close. All of us are very close, even though some of us are a big age gap with my oldest brother, but we were all very close growing up. My mama didn't play about that or whatever, but I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's, whew, Lord, I don't want y'all to see me cry. I'm not gonna get y'all it. But I'm here healing, trying. I sought out grief support or whatever because losing a sibling, I can only imagine how it is for like my mom losing her child, and like his kids losing their dad, especially my niece, because she lost her mom and her dad, and ironically they both passed on the same day, which is crazy. That was another hard thing, making the calls, because that's what I had to do, make the calls and tell his kids that he was gone. Yeah, that. And then another thing I want to tell people, about Facebook and social media. Can y'all please just wait until a family member or somebody say anything before y'all run to social media and tell people, oh, my homeboy passed. Like, I was seeing people that was saying, and I know this finna go left because it really is, because I really want to get this out, but I was seeing people saying like, oh, that was my boy, I just saw him the other day, when ain't nobody see him the last 2 weeks before he passed, because he was here. That was crazy to me. And then y'all run to tell that somebody passed so you can look good like you care, but half of y'all, more than 70, probably 80% of y'all went at the funeral repast. We ain't had a repast. The funeral, the viewing of the body, because we had a viewing of the body that Friday. We had the funeral at his church, home church in Jackson. Then his burial was in Edwards, his hometown, at our home church. You had 3 options. And I know people that something happened to them that day, but they made sure that they made it there probably like 10 minutes before it closed to, you know, show their respect. Like, there's a lot of y'all did, you know, people that my brother was hanging with, nowhere to be found. But, you know, that's a different story for a different day. And I'm very vocal about that. Don't care who got something to say about it. But, you know, with the social media stuff, like, I was procrastinating on telling Amaris that he passed, because Amaris was at school in Hattiesburg, and I was like, cause my son CJ was here in the house sleep, him and my nephew. They didn't know what was going on. I hadn't told them yet, because they was asleep. I left them sleep because it happened like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So they didn't know what was going on. They was, you know, sleep. And it took me all day before I could tell them. And then, because Mars, after I told all my sisters, or they were like, you know, all of them came here. All of them came here as soon as I told them. Even my sister had just had a baby and she still came. She hard-headed. But, you know, that's the support. And so, when I finally got to tell Mars, he was like, I was waiting on you to call, but I already saw it on Instagram. I couldn't even tell my kid that his uncle had passed because he already saw it because y'all talk too much. Jesus. But, you know, it's a small town, and my brother was well respected, and everybody liked him. He was, you know, he was the one to get along with everybody. He had too many friends, if you ask me. I used to tell him that all the time, and, you know, that taught me another lesson or whatever, when, you know, people with you run with you all the time, but when it comes to, you know, when you die, they know where to be found till this day. Like, you ain't gotta respect me, but show my mama that respect, because I can care less. But because I hold grudges, and I'm gonna forever hold a grudge. I know it's hard. It's easy to say, you don't do that, you don't do that. Like, no. If you went through what I went through them last 2 weeks, I fought and blamed a lot of people. And nothing's gonna change that. And then, you know, like with grief, you think things don't change. The dynamics of family change. Like with me, I distanced myself from everything. Like, I have to deal with, you know, my immediate family. Like, I didn't distance myself from my kids. Now, I ain't crazy. But, you know, I kind of like went into a very dark place. I wasn't even supposed to talk about this that long, but, you know, I had to get that part out. Like, I went through a very dark place. Like, you know, and I hate when people say, God don't make mistakes, don't question God. All that people know all that. That don't make the process make me feel any better. So don't tell me that. I know that. I know God didn't make this as a mistake or whatever. I already know that, but that does not make me miss my brother, nor nothing less. Like, I've known him almost 40 years of my life. It's been 1 year without him, and, you know, he's the first one to call or like be like, I miss him, saying, put me a plate up for later on. What you cooking today, sis? And, you know, stuff like, you know, you got to get used to that. Like, sometimes I forget that he ain't here. And like, it was a point where I was going to his grave so much, like anything out of place, and I want to redo everything or whatever. Like, I had to stop going because I don't know, I was going too much. I just had to, quit going out there so much. But I be like, I can hear him saying, "Oh, they ain't came out here and did this to my grave," because like a lot of people said, he wouldn't want y'all crying. you must didn't know LJ, because baby, he want all the sympathy, all the attention. You can't know. When people was telling me that he don't want you to do that, yes, he do. Oh, I can't believe I'm laughing. But yeah, that's like the hard part. And then blows just kept coming. Oh my God. So let me navigate from that. So RIP to my brother Lawrence Darrell Johnson, aka LJ. RIP to one of my favorite Geminis. A true Gemini. But yeah, RIP, bro, I miss you. So let me navigate to this next topic. Okay, my youngest son, Clifford. My youngest son, Clifford. I had it was like certain things, like I know when I first did my YouTube, I was talking about how things was going on with him that kind of like, I was glad that I was able to be a stay-at-home mom, and it really make after, because I took him to get tested for some stuff, because like I kept getting asked this question, and I'm gonna get to the question and what it was that people kept asking me. And so, like, I'm glad I decided, well, it really wasn't decided, because I was kind of like, I wanted to be, the working mom, because that's how it was with my oldest. When you want your kids not to experience things that you experience, you want to work hard and make sure they never had the life that you have. Not saying that my life was, horrible, but my mama had 5 kids, and it was hard navigating all of us. So we kind of saw signs early, which you never did think it would be that. So let me start from like birth. Like when I gave birth to him, I got induced, and that pregnancy was the Lord, horrible. Probably where I was like 4 months. I was like, sign my papers, get my tubes tied, cause baby, you couldn't pay me to have a 3rd child. But yeah, it was I couldn't eat. And, normally you had like morning sickness like the first trimester or something like that, and mine went on the whole freaking 9 months. Like anything I ate came right back up. I had my what do you call it? The sack that they're in. Having a brain fart right now, but the sack that the baby in, that was leaking for like 2 weeks before. Was it 2 weeks, or maybe it was a month? I don't really remember, but it was a minute. Oh, whatever. It was leaking for a minute, and then when I got induced to go into, I think I got induced the day before or the day after I was supposed to have him. I can't really remember. Maybe 2 days before, and maybe 2 or 3 days before or after. I can't really remember. Like that, like my first pregnancy, I remember everything, but my second one, I don't know what. I don't remember a whole lot. But when they induced me, it was going really fast, and his heart rate kept dropping. So they had to like stop that, and then when I gave birth to him, they said the umbilical cord was wrapped around his throat like 4 times, I think. I don't think I'm exaggerating, but I think it said 4 times. It was wrapped around him more than two times though. But yeah, and then he had this like blood blister on, I think it was the right side of his head. Yeah, it was the right side of his head. Well, if I'm looking at him, it's the right side, but on him, it's his left side. So, yeah, that kind of probably was a sign that went unnoticed. Not like place blame, but you know, I was that parent that I asked questions, I voiced my concerns, and I kind of like get on myself because I was like, I should have pushed more and stopped just, should not have just took a person at their word just because they was certified doctor or whatever. But yeah, it started with that, and then he was late doing everything, like late talking, crawling. Only thing he wasn't late with, because I as soon as the doctor tell me I can take my child off a bottle, I did it. Like, that was easy for my kids because they didn't like pacifiers and they didn't like bottles. They liked the cups anyway. And I didn't breastfeed because to each his own. It was weird for me, so I didn't do that. But yeah, like with early stages of all those things, like don't get me wrong, I voice my concerns all the time. You know, it's like, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, and I hate that I was doing this. I was comparing him to my oldest son because and then I had to think about it, look at it, because I was like, Amars was, a very, early. He was early with everything. Like, he was walking at 8 months. My child was talking to me in foods, and like, people didn't think he talked because he's very closed off, and he's, I used to call him mean, but he is. But he to this day, like, he's one of those kids that's like, he's 21, but he's grown in mind because he's very mature. And I always have been like that his entire life. Like, he's been above the scale before. And I kind of like compare things that he did to what my son was not doing at the time. And I voiced my opinions about it. But I was like, it's not, I kind of stopped comparing them because they're two different kids. She did tell me that, the doctor did. And I kind of like stopped doing it. But then, like, when he was younger, the signs were there, but they didn't really get like blowing out at you until he was older. And I was like, I don't know if I missed that, or it just, because she did say, the doctor did say that you do see it as they get older that you didn't see when they was younger. Like, don't get me wrong, it was signs there, but it wasn't like a big signs to be like, oh yeah. Because so my child went to school, 3, he went to school, and I still don't know, because he wasn't really fully potty trained. But because they voiced their concerns because he wouldn't use the bathroom at school. Like, he would hold it until he got home, and he was at school from 8 to 2 o'clock, 1:30, 1 o'clock. I think I went and got him at 1 o'clock in Head Start. It was either 8 to 1 or 8 to 2. I can't really remember. I believe it was 8 to 2. And so he would hold it the entire time. Like, he was a germaphobe. He didn't like, like, it was a lot of things. He didn't like the color green. He would do this thing where he would play with his ears like this, or he's a video game person, so he played the video game with, like, he would have the controller behind his head playing it like that. And I was like, maybe because I did weird things growing up, so I thought maybe it was just something like that. You didn't really pay attention to all that. Well, I ain't gonna say you didn't, say me. I paid attention to it, but then when I voiced my concerns, it was like, oh, there's just this, that, and I'm like, it wasn't like, okay, cool. And I'm like, something still in, deep in was like, something is different, something is not right. And so he had behavior issues early on. Like, he was the type that don't like change. He had a routine. He was a routine type of person. If things didn't go in their routine, that was difficult for him. Like, say, Monday through Friday, y'all go eat, playground, room, take a nap. And then all of a sudden that routine switched to something different. Oh, he doesn't take that well. He's older. This was when he was younger. I'm going from him being a baby, because when I had to do the evaluation, I had to go from that. He was 15 when he got evaluated for all this. He was 15, 1 week shy away from his 16th birthday. Like, he's 16 now, but he was 1 week shy from his 16th birthday. And I had to, like, they asked questions that I had to, what did he do this age, and it was from birth all the way to 15. And I'm the type of parent that I keep all report cards. I keep everything, that, like, progress reports. And luckily, when it came to, because I had to write his behavior, what his behavior was, what his grades was, and each grade that he was in. He was 15 now. So I had to go from kindergarten all the way to 10th grade. But luckily, I keep paperwork. And I had, now, when it came to kindergarten, first grade, I knew. But, like, in between that, because when he left once Jackson Public Schools, 4th grade, 5th grade, he was, because we moved to my hometown, 5th grade, he was in Hines County from 5th grade on until now. Yeah, I don't know why I'm hesitating on that. But, you know, so fast forward kindergarten, he had this teacher in kindergarten. You know, he loved this teacher, but he still was doing things that, my bad, somebody called. I should have had it on do not disturb, but my kid in school, I need my phone. So I don't forget where I was. Yeah, so kindergarten, he had a teacher that he was attached to, and he still, like, it was kind of still new for him. But like I said, with the routine or whatever, like, it was a point in time where he locked himself in the bathroom because things didn't go to their routine or the way that he wanted. And, you know, I used to get called to the school all the time. Luckily, I wasn't working, because, and then they said, they was like, they knew that he knew if they say, I'm gonna call your mama, he started crying, because she was like, he know you don't play, so I don't understand. I said, I don't understand either, because he know I'm coming. And I always came. Like, because I'm like, what is you doing? Like, we'll have a talk, like, he'll have a good week. Then the next week, it flipped. Like, that was a struggle in itself, then dealing with it by myself. And so, he would do things like, he didn't feel like doing this that day, or the routine switched, and he like, when he locked himself in the bathroom, everybody was, you know, scared or whatever. And I'm scared, because I'm like, why is he locking himself in the bathroom? And then, you know, he could talk, but they couldn't understand him, but I could. And, you know, my oldest son, Amars, he really understood him, because that's who, like, he was with all the time. You know, even with them being 5 years apart, Amars was kind of like, you know, he would look after his brother, and he knew things. Like, to this day, he knew things that I didn't remember, and I felt bad. Like, who was the parent? Like, like, you know, whatever. But I'm like, he was always around him. So then he went to first grade and second grade, when his kindergarten teacher was still there. He used to cut up and get his way, and guess what he ended up at? In the kindergarten teacher class. He had to get used to that routine had switched, that she was no longer his teacher the next year for first grade. And he wasn't trying to hit it. So he'll go in her class and do his her kindergarten class and do his first grade work. Oh, let me go back. So in kindergarten, you know, my son has been getting an IEP since 5 years old. 5 years old. He first started when his last year in Head Start, yeah, Head Start when where he was diagnosed with developmentally delayed at first. And so that gave him where he can get IEP and all that. And so he had a teacher, no, a special education teacher, where they call it exceptional education there, teacher, and something happened where I don't know what it is about special education teacher, but they can't keep them. It always changed, and there was another difficult thing, and she left. I never got an explanation on where, like, they didn't owe me. I mean, I don't know, but I'm like, okay, so he had a substitute, and she was like, I think you should get him tested for autism, and I was like, say what again? But at that point in time, ignorant is bliss. I didn't know that there was different types of autism. I really didn't find that out until TikTok came along, and seeing all the different, like, I really didn't. I just always seen it as one way. And so I asked his teacher, I was like, she came to me and said I should get him tested, for autism. And the teacher was like, no, I don't see it. I don't see it. Then she also recommended that I hold him back because she said he was behind. And the teacher was like, I don't recommend it. That was not in my recommendation. And it kind of like it was some type of, they didn't care for the lady. That's what I picked on. Like, don't get me wrong, I didn't really either. But, that was her job. I never disrespect a teacher. And so, I was like, I took the teacher word from it because I'm like, I didn't see it either. And so, Mars texted me. So first grade, he still was going back and forth to the kindergarten teacher. Second grade, and then it was the counselor, and then the coach that was there, the PE coach that was there. He would go to his class too. Like, though, it was those three people that he was attached to, and two of those people left. And that was another adjustment for him. I think they left around his second grade year. And he was there 2 more years after second grade. He was there till 4th grade. So that was a big adjustment. And he really got better with, everything. He was, they always said, like, he always tries. He tries his hardest. And, he had friends that they looked out for him. Like, because they've known each other from 3 years old all the way till he was 4th grade. So those kids didn't play by Clifford. Fast forward to 5th grade and moving back to my hometown and bringing my kids with me to get them, out of Jackson. And getting to this school, it was a totally different, like, how you come to a place where you're the new kid and people have all, like, these kids been knowing each other since Head Start. And, like, my kid wanted to fit in. He was bullied. Like, a lot of stuff didn't happen to him. Like, I got so many incident reports. So I'm trying to remember if I'm leaving anything out because I'm taking a leap. No. So fast forward 8th grade. No. February of 20. Yeah, it was 8th grade. 2021. An altercation happened where I got a call and they said, my child was hit in the back of the head. And, I was frantic because they was like, somebody turned the lights off and threw something at the back of the head. And I didn't know at that point that how sensitive the head was, because when I saw my kid, he had blood everywhere. Like, I was like, I just bought them pants. Why I said that, I do not know, because it was February the 1st, to be exact, 2021. It was it was almost close to his birthday. So around that time, I always do buy him a bunch of new clothes. And I was like, I just bought them pants or whatever. And he had blood all over. Luckily, I did get it out. Shout out to my grandma Gertrude. But, yeah. So the nurse was like, I think you should take him to the hospital just to have your paper trail or whatever. I really could have sued y'all, but I spared y'all. I still should, but you know, my dad was on y'all tail though. Whew, when I say they did not play by CJ. But anyway, get to the hospital. You know, they wash his wound to clean it off to make sure it wasn't like he needs stitches or anything. He didn't end up needing stitches. You know, she ended up explaining to me how sensitive the back of the head was. Oh Lord, that UPS. How sensitive the back of the head was. And then she was communicating with him, and you know, oh, that's another thing. When he talked to you, he's looking that way, this way, that way, down, that way, everywhere but at you. So that was another sign. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. I had to go get my package. So yeah, when he talks to you, he goes everywhere. He looks everywhere but right there where you are. Like, you be like, look at me. He'll look, and he gonna go right back that way. And she picked up, I think it was a nurse practitioner. She picked up on that, and she asked me, she was like, I think he would benefit of going to the case center at UMC. You know, that's the Central Advancement for Youth, I think it is the name of it. Don't make me laugh. Your Center for the Advancement of Youth, Department of Pediatrics. Yeah, that's, you know, the case center. And so took him. Well, I didn't, when he was at the hospital, she said that she recommended that, you know, he be seen by the case center and all that or whatever. And so I was like, okay. And I talked to his doctor about it. And that's another thing I'm thinking. I've been with that doctor since my child was born. And even though he's 16 now, finna be 18, I kind of want to take him away from there. Because I voiced my opinions on that. And she was like, we not going to claim that. Kind of like went spiritual on me, I think. Yeah. So I was like, okay. So fast forward to 2022, because that was 2021. Yeah, it was a year later, right after my brother passed. He had to have an evaluation. And he went to the counseling center, I think. And, you know, I had to sit outside. You know, I was right at the door because I want to leave my child by itself. No, I'm not dropping mine off. No, sir. No, ma'am. So I sat out there, you know, was playing the game on my phone and stuff, whatever. And when he finished and he came in there and she asked, she had more questions for me. And she said, like, have you ever thought about getting him tested for autism? And I was like, I said, out of his whole life, because he was 14 at the time. He wasn't 15 yet. Was he 15? Yeah, he was 14. So, no, he had turned 15. Yeah, he had turned 15. So, what was May? Yeah, it was May 2022. So, yeah, he did that. And she said, you know, I think you should get an referral to get him sent to the case center to get tested for autism. And you know, till that day, I still didn't know that there was different types of autism, because, you know, I'm thinking like non-verbal are the ones that's verbal, that really ain't all the way verbal. Like, I always seen one way, like, it's no disrespect, it just goes to the ignorance that I had. And then, you know, I have a cousin and I have a friend, that a classmate that that is in that field, and like they were big helps. They were big helps. Like my friend especially, because she told me like, advocate for your kid. And she gave me all the resources. Like if the school didn't advocate like I needed them to advocate, she gave me all the resources. Like shout out to Katina, because Katina, helped me throughout this whole process. And so when she told me that, I was like, okay, too many people done told this about my kid. Like, I've always knew it was something, but I couldn't, like, I'm no doctor. I'm a mom. I knew it was something, and I couldn't just put my finger on it. When they kept saying autism, I was like, I had to do, because I always been the type of person that do my type of research, but I guess I was in denial that I really didn't research it like I should have, until like my cousin, who's, went to school for all that, and, was like, yeah, it's different types of stuff like that, or whatever. It's different kinds. So May was the appointment when the lady told me that. So I made him an appointment for his doctor in June. And was it June or July? Because my kids always go to the doctor in the summertime. It was June or July. It may have been July. And I made an appointment for him to see his, pediatrician. And, so I could get the referrals. You can't just call Kay and be like, I need an appointment. Your doctor got to refer you. And it was like pulling teeth, to be honest. And she was like, because, like, I don't know. Because I'm like, I've been going here since my kid was born, 15 years at the time. And you was like, he's only been coming here since 2019. I said, he's been coming here since 2007. Where have your antennas been? What is in your paperwork? And our paperwork showing that, she's like, I'm trying to see what are your concerns and all this. And I'm telling her, like, my concerns has always been the same concerns. But, it's like, and then I left that out. As he got older, you could see signs. Like, I'd be like, CJ, you get the clothes out the dryer. And CJ would go to the washing machine. And I'd be like, CJ, go in the freezer and get me this. And he would go into the deep freezer. And I'll be like, no, the freezer, not the deep freezer. I would have said deep freezer. And he'd be so confused where he get frustrated. And like it was very, 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 more way advanced, like when he got older, that I saw the signs. Like deep signs that I was like, okay, Vicky, no, be firm with it. So when she was saying this, she was saying I was explaining to her this and whatever, and I'm like, it was like pulling teeth to get her to hear me. And I'm like, but I wasn't going out of there without getting their referral. And I got it. And then you have to wait a while. I was on the waiting list, and I finally got that call in November, I believe. No, I believe August, September, something like that. Yeah, so I finally got that call, and it was like, we gonna send you an appointment in the mail, and you have to fill out this paperwork. Well, no, I kept calling to see the process, this, that. It took that a long time, and I finally got the call and said, okay, he has an appointment. It's gonna come in the mail, and I was like, yes. So then it was like, the appointment was on Valentine's Day, February 14, 2023. Yeah, 2023. Yeah, it was recent. I had to think. But yeah, the appointment came February 14, 2023. And yeah, so we had to, I had to fill out this paperwork, like I said previously earlier, that from birth all the way till 10th grade, all the things that my concerns, his time frame with, sitting up, using the bottle, eating by himself, tying shoes. Like, did he have like thoughts of killing himself, thoughts of hurting somebody, stuff like that? Like, my kid never had none of that or whatever. The only thing like that was kind of like where he was a bad behavior was school. Like, I really didn't have, like, he was bad at home with like wanting to climb out stuff and jump off of it like that. It wasn't like disrespectful to me or anything like that, wanting to hurt somebody or stuff like that. He was like, my child was always in the video games and TV. So yeah, it was none of that. So we finally, I explained all this to him, and to this day, I don't think he really fully understand. But I sat him down, told him all this and what we had to do, and I told him, don't try to go in there and just be yourself, be normal, and like trying to explain to him and get him, ready for it. And the only concern he had was, am I gonna get a shot? I was like, no, you're not gonna get a shot. So we went in there with about, was it 1 o'clock or 1:30 was my appointment? I don't really remember. Did I get logged out? Indeed. Let me see. What time was his appointment? Let me see. I don't know. Okay, his appointment, it don't say what time. I don't feel like looking at my paperwork over here, but yeah, we was in there for a very long time. They had to do these testings on him, and I had to do my little, paper and questionnaire and all that. I had to do all that. This is gonna be a very long video, and so I had to do that, my little paperwork or whatever, and then finally, because we was there for a long time, and I did a video, we did a Facebook video because it was Valentine's Day, and it was the day that Cardi B and Offset had their meal at McDonald's, and me and him did a real funny video when I asked him would he be my Valentine and go eat at McDonald's with me. That was a real funny video, kind of like trying to lift his spirits and lift mine, because the weight gain, oh Lord. And then we was there for a long time, and then it was kids there. Oh my God. And so she came back and she said my child had level 1. He was on autism spectrum, level 1. And my heart kind of fell through my chest, because I was like blaming. She was like, a lot of parents do that. She was like, don't do that. It was nothing you could have prevented or done differently. She was like, sometimes you don't see it until they're older. But you still like deep, and you like, I should have been advocating way more for my child. Like, I've always advocated for him, but I should have been more. Let me stop clicking this thing. I should have been more on it, like, no, this is that. I don't see that. I should have like did that. You kind of went through that process, and she kind of like tried to talk me down off of that, because she was like, sometimes you don't see it until they are at an old age. Sometimes people don't see it until they're adults. And so he was diagnosed with, level 1 autism spectrum disorder, language disorder, and borderline intellectual functioning. And so trying to explain it to him, and then trying to process it at the same time myself. Like, I know it's not like severe like other autistic kids, but it's kind of like as if this kid hasn't faced enough. Like, I just wish I would have knew earlier. That's not my only regret, but that's one of my regrets, that I wish I would have caught that earlier, because now I had to notify the school. Now everything has to be revised. Like, granted, he finna be 18 in 2 years, because he turned 16 the week right after he was diagnosed. And so I kind of like making this video because it is Autism Awareness Month, and I've been procrastinating on telling this story because, like I said, my kid is in high school and I have to make sure everything is okay with him before I just jump out and say. And I told him, I was like, well, we'll just wait and say this. Like, people that are close to me already know this, that, you know, this what it is or whatever. But I said, I'll just make a YouTube video about it. And I asked him, was it okay? And I want to do this because I wanted to reach out to other people that are dealing with this and learn, because my child's going to be an adult and I want to see how I can help him navigate into the real world with this disorder. Like, he still is a regular kid to me, but I know, like, I'm very protective of him because some people try to take advantage of that. And I explain that to him all the time. So I kind of like want to get in touch with these little groups and stuff like that. I think I'm on a few on Facebook, but I really haven't posted anything in there. I just kind of been reading because, like, I feel like their kids are, like, they're dealing with way more than what I deal with. Like, and so it's like, oh, to explain what the level 1 is, it's kind of like kids that are like, kind of like socially awkward. And what else does it say? Yeah, the repetitive behaviors and repetitive interests, because, you know, my child is repetitive with him, like, and being GameStop. And then, you know, that's another thing, like, because it's just me and him, like, he has just me. And so I kind of like I overly spoil him. Now, don't get me wrong, he works hard. Like, one thing I can say about my kid, like, it just, because that's another frustrating thing, he does not play by school. And he tries so hard, and sometimes he just doesn't get it. And he be so frustrated because, you know, he even called himself, you know, dumb a few times. And now, you know, I have to correct him with it. But, you know, because, like, that's what everybody say. He tries so hard. Like, one thing, he gonna do his work. Now, he may not make the grade that he want to make on it. But, you know, he doesn't play by his word. Like, I don't have to be on CJ and be like, did you do your homework today? No, CJ be on it when it come to that homework. He do not play. He do not like to be late on projects. Like, my child can't stand when I text him at school and ask him a question. But if he got a project, he gonna text me and be like, I need you to go to Walmart and get this so I can do it when I get home. And I be when you send no texting at school, okay, bye. You know, like, there's one thing I do know, that because he has big aspirations. Like, when we go pick up his brother from college, Southern Miss, yeah. When we go pick his brother up from college, he walked around the campus and was like, man, I want to go here. So I just want the encouragement. I'm not looking for sympathy. I can care less about sympathy. If you know me, you know. So, you know, I don't care. But I just wanted to bring awareness to things, and kind of you guys that went through this make me aware of things, like the right verbiage, things I can do to help him navigate through this and to make it to college, because I do want my child to fulfill every dream that he desires. And I never want to hold him back from anything. I've never held him back. Like, I'm very protective of him. Like, I would drive him to school, to college, if I have to make sure. Because I don't know about no staying on campus and all that. Like, I'm trying. So, that's my baby. And then, like, he's very dependent on me. I try not to let him be dependent on me, but because, you know, like, it's certain things that a 16-year-old would know by now, like with managing money and counting money, and like, he's very nervous. Like, I push him to go to the counter. Like, he was like, that's another thing why he'll be like, can I get this game from GameStop? I'm like, you got to go in there and pay for it. You got to ask for the game. You got to go in. Like, I've been pushing him into, like, adulthood. Because at 16, baby, I was doing everything. Job, shopping. You better be glad we didn't have internet shopping. We probably had it back then, but I wanted to go in the store, baby. Because Mars didn't play. Mars ordered everything. And I'd be like, who ordered this? And it'd be him. Like, I'm trying to, you know, teach him more with it. And push him out there to adulthood. Not too far, but trying to get him ready. Because, like, I tell him, I hate saying it. I'm like, you're not going to always have me. And I need you to, that's another thing with school that I miss. Like, and I love his special education teacher now at Raymond High. I love him because he was like, I said, Clifford, because, you know, I check the grades every day. The worst thing they could have did was get a parent like me ask the parent, because I'm on there daily. Like, and I'm going to ask questions. And, oh, Lord, my head a miss. And I'm going to ask questions, but I'd be like, why CJ got a 0 right here? And I, you know, wait till he get home, like, because, you know, his special education teacher was like, he was like, I check it too, and I see it. And he said, you know, I'm trying to get him to advocate for himself and be like, why do I have a 0 right here? Why is this grade? And he was like, because he was like, he has the right, if he fail a test, he has the right to ask to take it over. Like, he been trying to get him to do it himself. And I really respect him for that, because I've been trying to do the same thing as well. Because I'm like, because in high school, I really didn't have to do that for Mars. And I'm trying not to keep comparing them. But, you know, Mars basically was like, just needed my signature or just ask me this. And he'll, like, when it came to his grades, he didn't play either. To this day. And so now when it comes to financial part, like, he like, hey, Mom, I need you to do this. Like, when it comes to academics, he on it himself, or just furthering his career, he's on it. But when it comes to the finances, like, don't get me wrong, he got it. But when it comes to, like, filling out applications and stuff like that for financial aid or stuff like anything like that, you know, that's me until, like, my son is in college and I check his website every day, because I don't want it to be no type of overdue payment or anything on there, and I'm gonna pay it. But yeah, so kind of like did this video to, like, reach out to people to help give me tips. How did you navigate this? What did you do? What resources did you have? You know, shoot your girl some what's the name? You know, on Facebook, I'm Victoria Johnson, and on Instagram, oh Jesus, you probably can search my name and see my picture. But it's DA_caramel_diva, because that's me. And Twitter. Oh Lord, I hope my name ain't Hot Girl Big J. It's get out of my business. Blame my friend Lakeisha for that. But yeah, that's been my year in a nutshell. Losing my brother, my baby being diagnosed with autism. So yeah, I wanted to end off Autism Awareness Month with bringing that news to you guys. And I want people to reach out to me, or give me people to reach out to get me into the right places to my child 16 to navigate on through this. I hate to keep repeating myself, but, you know, that's what I want. To, you know, get more aware, to help people get more aware. Or they'll, like, learn from my journey, or let me learn from yours. Like, advocate. Do not let nobody tell you no. If you think differently, keep pushing. Push it. Or switch doctors. I don't want to tell nobody to switch jobs. Because that's another thing. I didn't want to, because pediatricians are hard to find by, and you don't trust too many people with your kids. And I really wish I would have did that early on and pushed her on that with him. Maybe he wouldn't have been diagnosed back then. Maybe it would have been when he was older. I don't know. I never get that back, but you know, we here now. And so happy Autism Awareness Month to everybody. And you know, shout out to my kid, Clifford Walker Jr., aka CJ. You the best. I watch you fight everything and with everything in you. Mama is so proud of you. And we gonna keep pushing forward like we always do. You know, I'm behind you 24/7. 365. It's me and you against the world. Mama got you always. And we gonna keep pulling. So thank you guys for watching this with me. Sorry it was so long, but you know, it had to be said. And hopefully I can get back into my regular scheduled YouTube stuff, like with tennis shoes, and probably not TV shows. I'm really not feeling TV right now. And so yeah, thank you guys, and please support, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on all my other social medias. I might link it, I don't know, I might put it on the screen, I don't know. But have a good day. Thanks. Bye bye.